I learned to play the piano in a classical way. First, you have to know how to read notes. And second, then you have to know how you play those notes on a piano. And that's how I learned to play. And I learned it from a very young age. But there seemed to be a problem. There seemed to be a problem that when I was playing and I made a mistake, there was a little note that I played on my piano. It wasn't the note that was written on the paper right in front of me. I was like, I made a mistake. And I would go back to some steps before and play it again. Because I had made a mistake, I had to do it again so that it was good this time. And at a certain moment when I did this a lot of times, there was my teacher who eventually said, like, you know that if you stop and you play your error again, or you try to fix your error, you know that it sounds way more obvious that you made the mistake than if you would just ignore the mistake and go on. And that's something that's very interesting to me. Because when years later I learned to play the ukulele, I started to play and I made lots of mistakes, but I thought way more in general things. I started to think way more in chords at first and how they sounded well together, and then even more higher level I thought about starting somewhere, calling that home, going on a little trip somewhere else, and that trip might be beautiful, but it also might be very weird and sad and wrong, and it's all okay if in the end you just go back to where you come from, to home, where you started your music piece. And that for me was a very big insight, because then mistakes didn't feel like mistakes anymore. With the piano, mistakes felt, oh, I did something terrible and I have to fix it. With the ukulele, and thinking about it more general, mistakes feel like, this is interesting. It's not what I expected, it's a bit more surprising, but still, we can do something with this. And I hope, and I try to apply this in my own life, but I also wish that in any moment, in any part of your life, when you make a mistake, I really hope it doesn't feel like a mistake you have to fix, but that it's more a mistake that makes your life more interesting.